In the next 72 hours, we're going to get a major decision from the Fed that will affect almost everybody in the entire country. And it could be somewhat good news, or it could be an absolute disaster that could lead to a massive, bigger than expected recession this year in 2023. Or it could lead to a massive stock market rally, people's pensions, 401ks, and IRAs rallying here, and maybe some good news for our economy. So let's jump right in, and I'll give you the news here of what's going to happen here in the next 72 hours, or maybe even sooner here if you're watching this here a little bit after this video has gone live here. So let's jump right in. Thanks so much for liking this video. Here we go. Yeah, we're going to be getting a major decision here within the next 72 hours from the Feds, from Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, and it's going to affect how high interest rates will go, and it's going to be a major, major decision here, one of the most important ones. It's going to affect a lot of things, like how high interest rates on credit cards will continue to go up. You can see here some credit card interest rates are now over 30% or more right now. That's right. If you haven't looked at your credit card interest rates, you probably should after this video. In fact, credit card interest rates are at all-time highs right now, with the average credit card interest rate around 20%. The highest credit card interest rates at 30 or 35% right now. And the Fed set to hike interest rates here yet again. The question is, how high are they going to hike interest rates? And the other question is what are they going to tell us about what they're going to do here going forward? Are they going to continue hiking interest rates here, and how far into 2023? Or are they going to slow it down or stop it here after this? And this one is a very big decision, because this is going to tell us going forward if they're going to keep hammering down on the low and middle income Americans, or if they're going to give us a little bit of breathing room. Here is Jeremy Siegel, Wharton School of Business professor, and letting us know that this decision could be an absolute disaster for us if the Fed doesn't make the right decision. Take a listen.
I never saw so many people so bearish. And I think, as I mentioned, when everyone's on one side of the market's going to do the opposite thing. So much bearishness is built in that any crumb of good news, such as the inflation news that we've been getting, interpreted positively by the market, and of course the hope of a pivot by the Fed next week is critically important. We have to get no more than 25 basis points. 50 would be, I think, a disaster. We need to get 25, but we also need to get the messaging that not only does the Fed see that their policy is working, but that they are very near the end of their tightening, not, oh, we have more work to do. I don't think the market will take those words very well. I think 25 basis points is all they should do. After all, by the way, we got the December money supply, Scott, which is, as you know, something that I look at closely. 2022, the lowest growth of the money supply since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Now, that's something to think about. We have the greatest inversion of the Treasury yield curve in over 40 years. The most reliable single indicator of a recession. That's something to think about. Why would the Fed want to continue and even increase the inversion of the yield curve? That's beyond me.
All right, so there's a lot there, Professor, and you used a very interesting word. You used the word hope, about what the market hopes next week, about what you hope next week. And I remember the Shawshank Redemption, Professor, when they said hope's a dangerous thing. And that's what some people say now, that it's a false hope, okay? That it's a false hope because the Fed is more intent on making sure that inflation is not only down, but that it doesn't come back. and that this whole move predicated on this idea that the Fed is going to make a pivot or is near done is a false hope. How do you respond?
Well, if you shrink the money supply, inflation is not going to come back. They talked about the stop and go policy of the 1970s. So really, in terms of money, they kept on pouring it on and on and on, and there was continued inflation. We have a completely different situation today. And as I pointed out, if you use current housing data, not the misleading housing data of the Bureau, which is averaged, to months and months into the past, you have negative inflation right now. So we have nothing like the 1970s. They should recognize how tight they have become so quickly that risks the economy in a recession. It's not a stop and go situation like the 1970s at all. So they don't, and they also have to recognize, and Chairman Powell says this himself, but then sometimes the way he talks, he doesn't seem like he understands it. Monetary policy works with lags. All that tightening, a lot of it is yet to be felt. You're in real negative territory for inflation. You do see a slowing of the real economy. I mean, GDP was up, but the composition was not particularly good. The only thing is the labor market that's still tight. That's the only thing. And as we pointed out, that's the worker trying to catch up to all the purchasing power that he and she lost over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, and to touch on that last point there, home prices have been dropping in a lot of different states here. You can see this here from Fox Business. When will home prices finally stop dropping? Goldman Sachs predicts home prices will bottom out in 6 more months, which means 6 more months of dropping home prices. The problem is people aren't seeing a savings because the Fed keeps raising interest rates on us. And all that savings is going right out the window because of interest rates. And home mortgage interest rates are at 7% or maybe a little bit lower. And at the beginning of 2022, they were at 3% or a little bit lower. So the home interest rates have more than doubled. Now the Fed's set to raise interest rates here yet again by another 25 or 50 basis points, which means another 1/4% or 1/2%. So, and that means that credit card interest rates will go up, car interest rates will go up, personal loan interest rates will go up. Anything you borrow money on or owe money on will go up if it's not fixed, if you don't have a fixed rate. And the real thing here also, not just that's obviously a concern for a lot of people, but also going forward is what will the Fed tell us about rate hikes going forward? Will they raise rates again going forward? Will they tell us they're going to raise rates multiple times going forward as well? Will they tell us that they're going to keep raising rates for all of 2023? I mean, we've already seen home mortgage rates more than double in 2022. Are they going to say, hey, we got to really pound this inflation down? And yeah, it's really taken a toll on a lot of people, especially people with credit card balances and stuff like that. It's costing them thousands and thousands of dollars in extra interest per year. Remember, APR stands for annual percentage rate. That means interest you pay every single year. And it's really hammering the people with low income and middle income the most, because those are the people, I mean, wealthy people aren't paying credit card debt. It's just that's the problem here with the Fed, is that they're trying to bring inflation down, but it's hurting the low and middle income the most. So let me know your thoughts on this. We're going to know this decision by the Fed here within the next 72 hours, and I will keep you up to date here on this. And a lot of people are just saying, stop, please stop raising interest rates. It's hurting us more than it's helping us. But the problem is that they got to do it to get inflation under control. So the Fed has actually said we have to go through a period of pain to actually stop the bleeding in the long run. So it's really a double-edged sword, almost It's really kind of the best word for it. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and I'll keep you up to date here with this and everything else going on in our country on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, just click the subscribe button, then the bell icon that appears after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. And also, thanks so much for liking these videos and share these videos with anybody that needs to see this information. Here's some videos you can watch next. Click here to watch some good news for Social Security that just came out. Or you can click here to see why your IRS tax refund might owe you more money, but you need to know the details. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.